Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Theoni with Thrifty Divas. And today we're going to be baking. But first I'm going to tell you a little story. So my aunt and uncle are leaving for Greece in 2 days. And today we're having a little family get together of about 8 to 10 people, basically as their goodbye party. My mom was going to make the cake, but since I'm the cake person, I was like, why don't you just let me do it? Then I've been super busy and super tired and have not been able to have time to do this or decide what I was going to make. And I have changed my mind on what to make several times. One of the things that crossed my mind to make was Tres Leches. Now, if anybody knows, Tres Leches is very labor intensive. You have to separate eggs, you have to fold in peaked egg whites and then the egg yolks with sugar, beaten, combined separately, fold everything in, and it's just a lot of work. So I was like, there has to be an easier way to do this. And I started doing my research on kind of shortcut or semi-homemade Tres Leches. This is what we're going to do today in this video, and it is so much faster and simpler than the regular way. So this recipe has great reviews, and I'm hoping that it does the dessert some kind of justice. So we are going to be using a traditional yellow cake mix, or you can use the butter yellow cake mix, those types of things. Then you need a 12-ounce can of evaporated milk, a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk, 1 stick of butter, 3 room temperature eggs, and whole milk. You can use heavy cream instead, and then you can also use heavy cream to make your own whipping cream to lightly top it at the end. And then you need some vanilla, and then you need a toothpick or a skewer to make holes in the cake for the milk mixture. So let's get started on this shortcut. What we're going to do is preheat the oven to 350 and grease a 13 by 9 pan. My pan happens to be 11 by 7, but I'm going to make it work. So we're just going to... Next, in a large mixing bowl, we are going to add our cake mix. Then we are going to add our 3 eggs, room temperature eggs. 2/3 of a cup of milk, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and our 1 stick of softened butter. Okay, then we mix on high with the hand mixer for, low for 30 seconds. And then it calls for medium for 2 minutes. For 2 minutes. All right, so we have our greased pan, and now we are going to pour the batter into the pan. It is very thick. It didn't say anything about it being this thick, so let's hope this is right. I did everything it said. And it didn't say anything about smoothing it down, but thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. All right, so I'm gonna bang this down and then we're gonna put it into the oven for, it says 30 minutes or until a toothpick comes out clean. So I'll just keep watching it because I definitely don't want this overcooked because the milk mixture needs to soak in. So if it's too hard, that's not gonna work. All right, so let's put it in. Okay, it has been 25 minutes. If you can see that, it's definitely risen nicely, but it's looking a little too toasty for my liking. So I just lowered it down to 330 for the remaining little bit of time. So we'll see what happens. All right, it has been 30 minutes. Let's see how we're looking. Yep, that's a go. The instructions now state to cool on a wire rack for 30 minutes. I'm actually going to go ahead and pop the holes in here that we need for the filling. I'll do half of them now, half of them when it's cool, whatever. Okay, so you're just going to take a skewer or anything like that and just pop holes all throughout. You want to make sure you get the edges too. You definitely want the filling to pour into the sides so it's not too dry. This feels very spongy to me, but hopefully it turns out okay once we pour the milk mixture on top. You definitely want to make sure that the whole cake is filled with these holes. So just keep going until that is done. All right, so 30 minutes on the wire rack, and we are going to pour the milk mixture while the cake is still warm. We're not looking for a total cool down. All right, so now we wait. So we have the condensed milk, then we add the can of evaporated milk as well. Stir this together, and we are also going to add the whole milk into this. Okay, so the recipe calls for 1 cup of heavy cream, but I'm just going to go ahead and use whole milk. You can definitely use heavy cream. I've had it like that before. You can also use half and half is another great alternative. So I'm just adding the 1 cup of whole milk, and then I'm just going to whisk this all together, get them all combined, and then once they're combined, we'll be ready to pour it over the cake. All right. Now for the fun part. So we're just going to go ahead and pour the 3 milk mixture. Now remember, the cake has cooled on this cooling rack for 30 minutes before I do this. And here we are just doing the rest of the mixture. We're going to let this sit for another 20 minutes after all of the mixture is on there. Then it needs to go in the refrigerator, preferably overnight, but at least 6 hours. And then you do the topping last minute if you choose to add that. All right, now we are on to starting the decorating. And I just ran into Dollar Tree quickly to get these two things. So I wanted a solid bar of chocolate that was big enough to write on. And this was perfect. And it's actually a product of Poland. I did not know that. But anyway, I'm just going to write on it. So I needed a surface because the top of the cake is not really going to be a good writing surface. It'll probably bleed out. So I wanted to do it on the chocolate. Then I wanted to also put an airplane on there to make it kind of cute. And I was looking over by like the Matchbox cars and stuff, and the only planes I could find were like World War II fighter jets and B-52 bombers and things like that. So it wasn't really fitting. So I ended up finding this 6-piece of party favors. Let's see. I mean, there's a lot of fighter jets in here too. Let's see. So these two are the same, and not my first choice. Okay, these definitely look like fighter planes with these wings, so I don't like that. All right, so it's going to be between this one and this shape, because two of them are this shape. They're the same. So you get two of each shape. So between these two, I'm thinking, even though this has like a, we'll just, maybe I could like dip it into the frosting, like stick it in, but this has like a fighter plane tip, but I think the wings look the most like a commercial airliner. So I'm just going to use this one. And then we are going to write on this bar of chocolate in Greek. So that'll be fun. So we're going to do that. And then I also remembered that I had a tiny little Greek flag. I'm like, where did I put that? So I found it. It's a little beat up. It's probably about 12 years old, but I brought it back from Greece. It was like in one of my drinks like 12 years ago, but I still had it. And you see, this is why things like this are perfect. So I'm going to put this on the cake with the plain, as well as writing on the bar of chocolate in Greek. So let's go ahead and do our writing. All right, here goes nothing. So this is done. I just added a little exclamation point too. So Galo Taxidi means like bon voyage, kind of. It just means like good journey, good travels. So that is going to go on top of the cake along with the little airplane and the little Greek flag. All right, so now we are going to top the cake. Now remember, the recipe calls for you to make your own whipped cream using heavy whipping cream and confectioner's sugar. I will list the recipe down below in the description box the way it is listed. However, I am making my own little changes, so for time and ease today, I'm going to put the thinnest layer of Cool Whip on there that I possibly can, because I don't want to ruin this dessert that's probably pretty delicious. So that's what I'm going to do instead. A tiny, thin layer of ready-made Cool Whip on top of the Tres Leches. All right, so at this point, it's been in the fridge for probably almost 3 hours. So it's soaked up all of our 3 milks. We still have 2 hours to go before we have to leave the house. Again, I don't want to mess with the flavor or the beauty of this. I know this is like sacrilege right here, but we're just going to put the thinnest possible layer of Cool Whip on here. So here it is. Again, not a pretty, I wasn't going for pretty, although it's kind of cute, the whole idea behind it, but I was going for taste. So stay tuned a few more minutes while this goes back in the fridge for 2 more hours. We go to my mom's, we have dinner, and all of that stuff, and then we'll see how this is. All right, it is time to serve. We took everything off the top. That's why it looks a little messed up. So it is a little crumbly, but it is definitely soaked. Let's go ahead and cut another piece. Oh, look at all that goodness at the bottom. Oh yeah. See, here you can really see it's definitely soaked. Great. Look at this. Everybody loved it. It turned out absolutely delicious, and this is a wonderful shortcut to the usually very involved Tres Leches recipe. I will list the recipe down below in the description box if you would like to go ahead and give this a try. Hope you all enjoyed this, and until the next video, stay blessed, my friends.